you have the time to listen to me?
Talk about three completely unoriginal components that when combined made Green Day's Basket Case sound so original. And the third one of these is the most important factor as to why this song and Green Day as a band became so popular. Punk rock. Green Day was a part of the Bay Area punk scene in Berkeley, California. They were a punk band and they had the pace and the energy that punk is known for. Those kind of really powerful, like hard-hitting, energetic drum fills. Just really punky, heavily distorted guitars. I'm very proud that we came from a diverse scene. But what separated Green Day from the other punk bands of this time that had more of a chanting or shouting style of vocal was their more melodic approach to songwriting. We were definitely the most melodic band playing at that time. I am not standing for this any longer. Green Day are not punk. As they were becoming more successful, the term pop punk was being thrown around, but this was an industry label. No band would call themselves pop punk. Pop music. But this label of pop punk was actually quite apt given how popular Basket Case became.
That is a false analogy.
No, it's not. It's apt.
It felt more accessible to people than a lot of other punk music did, and I think this is in no small part down to the song's more pop tendencies. So this song essentially just goes verse, chorus, chorus, but with a couple of guitar breaks in between. If you're a musician, you've probably heard of the 4 chords of pop before. Nowadays, we often call it the axis progression, for obvious reasons.
What you're trying to say is you can take those 4 chords, repeat them, and pump out every pop song ever. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Off.
I mean, they're doing everything as power chords to keep that punk kind of aesthetic. I believe they tune their guitars down half a step, but either way, we're in the key of E flat major, and we start off on the 1 chord, E flat major, then to the 5 chord, B flat major, then we go to the 6 chord, C minor, and then this is where it varies from the 4 chords of pop. What they've done is, instead of going straight to this 4 chord, before they go to the 4 chord, they go into the 3 chord, which is G minor. And then they go to that 4 chord. So it's essentially the 4 chords of pop, but with 1 extra chord thrown in. In punk music, the vocals tend to be more chanting or shouting, but Green Day took a more melodic approach to their vocals. And check out this vocal melody, right? There's a proper structure to it. So you've got kind of like an A part, this first part, B, B again, and then it goes to C, so it's like A, B, B, C. It's proper structure there. Structurally, they're quite straightforward, but they often are in pop music because it makes them easy to remember and it makes them more catchy. And what is the most obvious trait in pop music? It being catchy. These pop tendencies combined with the pace and energy of punk music were combined with the most important factor in this song's popularity: culture. I will never sell out like Green Day did. I do not care if people listen to my music because I am an artist. No, that's fine. I mean, music should be written for yourself first and foremost anyway. And if you write purely just for your own sense of creativity to get something out, then it doesn't matter if other people listen to it anyway, it's for you. My music is so much better than this crap that people are listening to. People just don't appreciate my art, man. There are 2 questions that are often completely overlooked by songwriters. Number 1, who is listening to your music, or who will be listening to your music? And number 2, why should they listen to it? Basket Case came out in 1994, and the 90s was a crazy time for music. I mean, I talked about this in my video about Nirvana. The 80s, the music that was being made for the kids was full of these like larger-than-life characters with virtuoso musicianships, and these rock stars were kind of put on these pedestals that we were meant to idolize them. But in the 90s, this isn't what the kids wanted. The youth of the 90s had this feeling of not belonging and feeling misunderstood and feeling isolated. So they didn't want to worship these people that seemed perfect. They wanted music that was being made by people like them, for people like them. I mean, the term teenage angst was thrown around a lot in this time, and this is when bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots all just kind of exploded onto the scene and became popular almost overnight. But a lot of this music sounded quite serious, and in a lot of ways sounded quite dark, and this is where Green Day perfectly fit in.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it.
These are lyrics that the teenagers could relate to. It still was full of this teenage angst, but they just felt a bit more playful, and that combined with catchy melodies and poppy structures and pop style chord progressions and the energy and pace of punk just made it sound a lot more fun. And even in this kind of teenage angsty kind of time period, people were still wanting stuff that got you on the dance floor and put a smile on your face. So as songwriters, if you're wanting more people to connect with your music, I think there's two things that I'm going to take away from Basket Case. Number one, who is the music for? Who is going to be listening to it? And two, why should they listen to it? Green Day weren't necessarily ripping any of these things off, but they were taking completely unoriginal influences and they combined them together to make something that sounded very unique to them. A good song is always a good song, and if that good song finds an audience that relates to it, then it's bound to be huge. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.